enter the room.
Oh, hello, examiner.
You can proceed.
Hello.
Hi, doctor.
I'm Doctor. I'm one of the junior doctors in the emergency department. Can I confirm who I'm talking to?
This is Dale Scott.
Nice to meet you, dear Scott. So, and what would you like me to call you?
Dale is fine.
Nice to meet you, Dale. So I'm calling regarding your father, Michael Scott. Is that right? Yeah. Can you confirm his age for me, please?
My father is 70.
Okay, and can you confirm the first line of his address?
This is 3 Hardman Square, Manchester.
Okay. Thank you very much. So I'm calling regarding your father. He was brought in to the hospital today. Do you know about that?
What?
Yes, your father is with us today at the hospital. Do you know about that?
What do you mean he's there? What happened? I don't know. I didn't hear anything.
I see. Are you in a place to talk? Are you, where are you? Are you at home?
Is he okay? I tried calling him. Can you give the phone to him? I'd like to talk to him as well.
I see. But it's not available to talk. Are you in a place comfortable to talk? Can I keep talking with you? Are you at home?
Yeah, I'm at home.
All right. Okay. So your father was brought in today. He apparently fell at home, and he was brought into our care today. Right. And at the moment, he's unconscious, but we are trying to we are trying our best to help him to make sure he's all right at the moment.
Oh, wait, so is it he's unconscious? Like, what exactly happened? When did this happen?
Yeah, this just happened this evening. He fell. He apparently fell and he was rushed in by the ambulance to our care.
Okay, is he okay now?
Right now we've done some tests and we're just trying to we've already done some tests and some investigations just to try to stabilize him. But before I talk about how he's doing at the moment, I would like to just ask you a few questions about his medical background. Is that okay?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, thank you. Well, does he have any medical conditions? Is he being treated for any medical conditions?
Yeah, he has high blood pressure. He takes medication for it very regularly, so that's fine only.
Oh, I see. And is he regular with the medications?
Yeah, he takes very regularly.
Oh, I see. Okay. And do you know what kind of medication that is?
I'm not sure. It's some bisoprolol or something. I'm not sure.
Okay. And does he have any other medical conditions?
No, nothing else.
Okay. Is he on any other medications?
No, nothing else. He's
Okay.
absolutely fine. I just spoke to him today morning.
That's good. Does he have any allergy?
No, doctor.
Oh, okay. And can you? I just want to ask about his living condition. Who does he live with?
He stays alone.
Oh, he stays alone. And do you visit him regularly?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, all right. And are you nearby? Do you live nearby?
Nearby where, doctor?
Nearby is where he's living.
Yeah, it's just like a half an hour drive.
Oh, I see. Okay. And do I just want to ask you a few more questions? Um, do you have the lasting power of his lasting power of attorney?
I'm not sure. I'll have to ask my
Oh,
brother.
okay. Oh, all right. Okay. Thank you so much for being patient with me and answering all my questions. I just have an important update about his condition. Like I said, he was brought in by the ambulance and he was unconscious and till now he's still unconscious. And we did some investigations. The results came out that we did a CT of his chest, of his, sorry, his head, and it showed that he had a massive bleed. due to the fall.
Okay, and
Yes, and it has been reviewed by our specialists, and they decided that is unlikely to survive the fall and the bleed, and they've decided that an operation won't be necessary in his case, as it won't resolve his condition. I'm so sorry to hear this. I'm so sorry to say
I.
this.
What do you mean, doctor? What do you mean he's not going to survive? He's in the hospital, right?
Yes, it's in the hospital, but like I said, the bleed was massive, and we've tried our best to help, but his condition is so severe that
2 minutes
it's
remaining.
decided that an operation won't be suitable in his case. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to share this news with you.
Doctor, please don't say that. I mean, you can why isn't an operation suitable? Why can't you do an operation? I mean, we have been taking care of him so well. Why did this happen in the first place? I
Yes,
mean, why
we are
can't
not.
they do the operation? I don't understand.
Yes, like I said, the specialist already they examined him and with the CT and everything, and they decided that this the surgery will be too heavy on him, and it won't be beneficial for him at all. I'm so sorry this happened. I can see that this has come as a shock to you.
Yeah, doctor. Oh my God. So,
Yes, but right now he's breathing on his own. We've tried to make him stable. We've given him some fluids, with and some painkillers for his pain, and
okay.
we'll keep trying to monitor him. Is there any way you can come in to see him?
Yeah, of course I'll come. I mean, where but how long does he have? I mean, will he even be there by the time I come?
At this moment, it's a bit hard for me to say, but since his condition is terminal, it's really hard for me to say. But I would try to gather more information and let you know. But it's really good if you could come in now to see him.
Yeah, doctor, I'll come. But how long you're saying, and we don't even know how long he'll live by. It's
Move on to the next station.
that that was really good, doctor. Wow.
Okay, yeah, this case was really.
That was really nice. You handled it really well. It was very calm. That was perfect. What do you think? You have any thoughts? How did you feel?
Yeah, I was kind of feeling for him also, and like I feel like I wanted to say a lot of things to help calm him, but it just I couldn't think of what to say to kind of help him through this, and it's just yeah.
That was nice. That was really good. So just one thing that I noticed is that you kind of told a lot of information in one sentence when you actually did break the news ultimately.
Oh,
That is something that usually that came off as a too much of a shock to me.
oh,
And one thing that can help with this is something called an invitation. Do you know what an invitation is? Like
yeah.
while you're breaking a bad news. So
Mm-hmm.
that invitation is something uh, you always have to say that I have some bad news, or you just prepare them for the news before you tell them that he's unlikely going to survive.
Mm,
That's a good way to bring in. It's something called layering. So that's a good way to bring in the bad news so that you say something before it, so they are ready
mhm,
for it. So if it was an in-person consultation, you could have said, "Do you want somebody to be there with you?" But in a phone conversation, the best way to do that is basically saying that I'm so sorry, but I have bad news that I have some serious news about your father. I need to tell you, and then you tell the main news. I mean, I'm not saying that you did, but the layering became a little too extended, where you took the data. So you started with an invitation. You made me feel that okay, there's something going on, something serious going on, but it took too long for you to again break the news, and it felt sudden for me, because I was in the hopes that okay, they're asking for all these medications and past history and all that. Okay, so it might be they're planning to do something about it. So that kind of gave me a hope, right? Like thinking, okay, he's in the hospital, they're taking care of him. So it's best if you keep these data gathering either to the after you break the news, or before you even before you even do the invitation. So in best if you had said it in the first sentence, where you said, do you know if you know your father's current condition. So that's when, if you had just asked the quick data gathering, and then you break the news, and then you ask a detailed data gathering again. So that's one way to. So Breaking Bad news stations are very tricky in that aspect, where
Yeah.
it becomes a little difficult to know when exactly to break the news and when to do your data gathering. But you did really well. I'll just hand over to the examiner. She'll give you more detailed feedback. Right?
Hi, Doctor.
Hello.
That was a great performance. Good job. But yeah, like Dr. Rohit mentioned, the news aspect was very sudden, and this is a little bit different from the usual Breaking Bad news that we usually see. And I'll just show you your performance. Hang on. And we'll just go one by one on how ideally we should, tackle this kind of a situation.
Okay.
So since this is a telephone conversation, there are certain etiquettes that you need to follow for a telephone conversation. So you're calling him, informing him what your role is. Like
Mm,
every time you call a person, you always have to tell them who you are, right? Introduce yourself and
mm,
introduce, the setting that you're from. That I am one of the doctors from this so and so unit. So let's just look at the doctor's instructions first. So as soon as you got this doctor's instructions, you realized that this was a Breaking Bad news station, did you?
yeah, I did.
So you were almost prepared in your mind that how you need to carry out this consultation. So you can already start structuring it, because this conversation needs to be opened by you, because you're
Yes.
calling a person who doesn't know anything. If you think about it, if you look at the case, you're supposed to talk to the person. That's also, you wouldn't know by just looking at the case. See, you need to talk to the person on the phone, explain to him his father's condition, inform him to come to the hospital as soon as possible. That is your task at hand, because you
Yes.
already know that he's already had this massive bleed, and there is nothing that you can do for him. So your task is to inform the son and ask him to come, because when he
Mm.
comes to the hospital, you can ask him more details, right?
Oh.
If you think about it, rather than getting all the details out of him, because you need to think of him as a real patient. Because if you're going to tell somebody something as drastic as their father having something as severe as a stroke, and you have to break the news, they'll obviously have an emotional reaction, right? I mean, you're talking to somebody whose family member is involved. So, make sure you keep that into mind, take that into consideration. Make sure you tell him the setting, break the news in a very professional manner, give him the time to recalibrate, think, and ask him if he's okay to talk about things, right? Because at that point, getting data out of them would, wouldn't be that good thing to do if you think about it. But
Mm.
in the question also, you're kind of given that hint that your task is to invite him to the hospital. It's not technically data gathering. Break the news and ask him to come to the hospital. So,
Mm.
but even in the process of doing that, if you can manage to get some information from him, given his state of condition and stuff, you need to take that into consideration. What is his state of mind? How is he feeling? How is he responding? Is he coherent about the questions I'm asking him? Right? Once you get that idea, then only should you ask more questions, right? Or you should ask those questions before you break the news, if you can think of a clever way to actually ask the questions about the father before breaking the news, then those emotional factors don't come into play, right? So yeah, let's go through the case performance. So yeah, you did ask a lot of data gathering questions. So the next of kin would have been good to ask, advance directive or anything like that, because when you're talking about an advance directive to a person, they already know it's the end of life, right? So that's
Yeah,
also something
the
you
last
should
part
drop
I
it
thought.
very sensitively,
I
right?
was thinking to ask now.
Yeah, right. Who does your father live with? Those are all things that you ask. Those are very good questions. Medical conditions, yes, because that would help you to break the news better. So it was like, I have some serious news regarding your father. I mean, before we discuss that, could you just tell me if he has any medical conditions that I should know of, right? So if you know, then he might mention something about blood pressure and he is medicated properly and he's been all right, we've been regular checkups. All right, that's enough. You've got the information that you need. So you can tell him that your father has had a massive bleed, and one of the most probable things could be the condition that he already has. But the neurosurgeons have reviewed the CT and they've seen that the bleed was massive, so they cannot do anything about it because that is the state that you're at. You know that it's terminal, and you're supposed to communicate the fact that it's terminal because that's the question that you've been given. If you think about it, so
Yeah.
he's unconscious, and it is classified as terminal, and they feel that operation would not resolve the problem. So that much information you have, and that is the information that you are meant to inform him,
Yeah.
right? Father's condition. That's the condition he's at, and that's the information you're supposed to give. So any information that would aid you into giving this information, that you should try to gather. If not, if you think there is no such information that you can gather to break the needed or perform the needed task, that's fine, right? You need to deliver the news as like a human to human, right?
Okay.
All right. So we'll just get to the management and the interpersonal skills. So you did explain the situation. That was good. And you summarized that your father was reviewed by the specialists, and they say you explained the situation well. And the next step, you did ask him to come to the hospital, but then that was too late into the conversation, right?
I
You were
actually
doing a lot
forgot
of data
that.
gathering. Yeah, I know
Yeah.
these cases are very tricky, but yet these are very common occurrences in a doctor's life as well, right? Then I know we get more practice acclimatized by the situations that we do encounter. So that is something that I think GMC is also looking for. If you do encounter such situations, it's something that you can handle properly. It wouldn't lead to a lawsuit. So, the proper ways of making sure that the person you're talking to is well informed and is given the right information, right? All right. So, other things that you can offer him, just, because you have the resources and stuff, you can ask him to come to the hospital and we can arrange somebody to meet you, or you can tell them my name and they will direct you to the required ward. So, since it's a very sensitive situation, you have to make sure that as soon as this person comes to the hospital, he's kind of taken care of. So, those are the safety netting things that you can think of, because those are things that you can do as a doctor in a hospital, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So those all come into management. Like, I am telling you to come, but when you come, we have things planned out. You can come to the hospital, we can talk further. I'll explain you the next strategy, what they can do. And the nurse will be there to receive you. And if you still want to take more information, I can give you some leaflets and pamphlets that can give you more idea about the situation. Right? And the interpersonal skills. Yeah, so this case, since it's very sensitive, you need to signpost every time you're changing the subject, right? If you want to start talk about, the situation at hand, that is the bleed, And then from there to the medical history, you need to signpost it very well. Ask them, are you comfortable talking about this? Is there some questions that I can ask you, right? And yeah, initially itself, you started conversing with him. You weren't in that phase of saying that, are you, is this a good night, right time to talk? That should be the initial things that you should mention, especially in a telephonic conversation, since you don't know the person's situation and the setting. So try to keep that in mind when you will be talking to somebody, especially in the surroundings you don't know, right? And prepare them for the bad news. Allow for silence. Actually, you did do this. You did give a lot of gap for them to process that. The information. That's also a very good interpersonal skill. That you give them time to understand. Let the content just sink in.
Yeah.
All right. So this is our workbench. This is a tool that Dr. Rohit and I have built. And this will help you understand the case a little better. So we have made it into two ways, where there is a practice mode and there's a review mode. So in the practice mode, you can have the candidate information, the findings, and you can copy the simulator link, and you can share it with your practice partner. So once you click on this, the link gets copied to your clipboard, meaning it gets stored into your computer, and you can just
So you can just send it in WhatsApp or something to another your practice partner.
Yeah, so you can just copy it and you can just send the link to your practice partner, so that you can practice with anyone. So anybody who understands English, we've tried to make it as seamless so that they can practice with anybody who understands English. So this way, the person who's practicing with you can, take on a persona of the patient. And while they're having this conversation, they can mark you according to the different domains. So that's what we did. So every time you give a certain mark and you submit it, the mark gets populated according to the number of boxes you've checked. And after you submit that, that goes to your workbench, which is this one, right?
No.
And it gets stored into your my performance tab. So if you go to practice mode, this was the my performance tab, so it gets stored over here. If you refresh it, once the submitted one gets stored into this. So we've also made an in-time guide where it helps you
begin.
Go through the cases one by one. So these are the ones that we are posting online. So if you see, we
begin.
sorry.
And enter the room.
30 seconds, you can see what to do in that 30 seconds. So we've tried to divide all the cases in these 8 minutes.
Oh, I see.
So
Okay.
entire case gets divided into 30-second sections. So every 30 seconds, it will give you a task to fulfill. So that way you'll have a guide throughout the 8 minutes. So this is the best way that we could figure out how to do the time management, because most of the time when we were practicing, we were always spending so much time on data gathering, and management is almost becoming like just the last 1 minute or 2 minutes we were doing management.
Yeah.
So this section equally divides it between data gathering and management, so that you'll be able to cover it properly.
So let's go through the in-time guide of this particular case. So if you see, no water. Sorry, my throat is a little off. So if you see, in the first 30 seconds, you actually introduce yourself. So this moves with the timer. If I pause it, then I can see all the cases. So now you did the introduction, but then you needed to explain, also maintain some of the telephone etiquettes. So that is something that you should do in the beginning itself, like introduce yourself, tell them who you are, what, where you're from, and then ask them if they are comfortable to talk at the moment, right? And if they can hear you clearly, right? And if this line gets disconnected, if this is the line that they can get back to you on. And then gather the initial information. So this information, how you can gather is by just asking something as general. can you tell me what you know about your father's current health? Right, I'm Dr. Anna Gaston. I'm calling from the Department of Accident and Emergency from so and so hospital. I'm here to talk to you about your father. Ask all the identifiers like your son, age, address, and then I have some serious news about your father. And before we have this conversation, I wanted to know if you know of any information about your father's current health, right? So if you can have that as the introduction, then they can tell you, then you can gauge from that whether they are aware of this incident or not. And then after that, once they say, yeah, he's fine, I spoke to him in the morning, then you can start preparing him. Like, I have some serious news about your father. Is it all right if we talk right now? Right? Ask them that permission. Like, ask them their situation in a way that, I'm going to give you something big. Are you okay to receive it right now? And then explain to them layer by layer, like Dr. Rohit mentioned, that start with what happened, right? I'm sorry to inform you this way because that's what you have to keep saying, that this is something very unfortunate and I'm very sorry to inform you. But your father collapsed at home and he was brought to the hospital. Unfortunately, he suffered a massive bleed in his brain and is currently unconscious. So you've covered all your points and in a simple manner.
Yeah, so the layering basically, so initially when you prepare the bad news, we prepare for the bad news, and then the next section where it says explain the situation. So that's where you need to try to at least say it in 3 different sentences, at least 2. So how you do that is, for example, if you notice here, you start off by saying, "I'm sorry to inform you, but your father collapsed at home and was brought to the hospital." So that doesn't give him the all of the information, and then you wait, pause, and then if they ask any question, you can respond to it. But most probably they won't. Then you immediately say that unfortunately he had a massive bleed in his brain and is currently unconscious. So by this point, you have already given a warning and you have already told the complete information. Where suddenly, if you didn't tell them this, like for example, how you did in my situation right now. So initially, you told me that he fell and he's unconscious. And
Yes.
after that, till the end of the consultation, I didn't know what happened, why he fell, right? So always try to, whenever you're giving the bad news, never spread it out too much. If you're layering, if you started the spikes protocol, always finish it till the S, and then you do your additional data gathering or anything else that you want to do.
Okay.
Right. So the pausing in between is also very important because you're trying to understand if the information has sunken in, right? You're trying to wait for them to respond to, any of the information that you're giving. And if you see that they're trying to respond, you need to be very receptive to that. So make sure you say, yes, you're saying something, or, if they're trying to talk, let them talk because having the simulator talk would actually give you more information on how you can
Yeah.
structure your consultation. All right. So again, wait and pause. That's also very important. And then respond empathetically to their questions. So they'll immediately have certain questions like, "Are you sure, doctor? This is what happened. What is happening right now? Can I come meet him? Is it possible for me to see him?" Right? You have to. Those are the questions that they are looking for you to get out of the patient itself. So if you continuously keep talking, they might not be able to answer those questions, ask those questions. So you can actually bring it out of them by doing the ice, because idea, obviously, you've already covered that part, but the concerns, is there something that any of your concerns that I can address at the moment, right? And then you call them in because the expectation is that you have to bring the patient in. And once he is in the hospital, there are more things that you can offer him. So all the leaflets and leaflet pamphlet safety netting is something that you can offer him in the hospital once he comes. So you're giving him that information as well, right? Right. Um, and then once you actually do manage to break the news, there might be a conversation where it can go into the fact that, how did this happen? and what do you think it's because of. Then you can actually before venturing into that zone, you can start asking him questions. If you're okay, can I ask you a few questions to understand about your father's condition a little better? It will help me answer your questions. So when you do that, you can do more data gathering. So let them lead the conversation to what they want to talk about. You have to perform your task, what you need to be doing according to from what you gather from the candidate information, and the rest of the conversation you let them navigate through that, right? All right. So in that time, you can actually, whatever questions they ask, you can actually ask the data gathering questions related to that. So if they ask you why this happened, then you can definitely, change the conversation by saying, if I could get more information about your father, that would be very useful in answering these questions. So then ask about the past medical history, the medication, has this happened before, right? Who does he live with? Is there an advance directive? Right, and if you feel that he's uncomfortable talking about things, and say that why don't you come to the hospital as soon as possible, and we can further help you. If there are any more questions that you have, I can answer it for you, because I know this might be too much for you to take at the moment, right? So then they
Mm-hmm.
will eventually, once they start, processing things better, they might have more questions. Then you can give, provision for them to come and ask,
Yeah.
So
right?
most of the times in these scenarios where they expect you to call them to the hospital, so you have to always give them the option first. Like, would you like to come to the hospital so we can talk more? And the simulator themselves will tell you, it's all right, just tell me what happened. That's when you actually continue and tell the thing, because it's not natural, right? If you wouldn't normally do this, you would definitely want the son to come to the hospital, and then you would actually deliver the news, right, fully. So always
Mm-hmm.
try to think about it in that way. Like, breaking bad news is something, if they give the task specifically which says call them to the hospital, always focus more on that, because they will be that's also important in the fact that they're seeing how do you call them to the hospital, because they haven't given you what hospital information it is. But you should always try to, there's so much more you can do in the fact, like what Dr. Ann said, where you come and you tell my name at the front desk, and they'll send you something. These are all safety nettings that you can do on a telephone. So that is something that's very important. You can't just end with you just come to the hospital, so they don't know what happened. So always remember, whenever it's a phone call, telephone call, or in live consultation, always remember what happens to the patient after they leave, like after they end the call or after they leave your consultation room, because that is something that you have to keep in mind and you have to safety net for. So that way you won't forget that. Always think about, okay, where is he going now? If they're going to the specialist, always set up an appointment saying, you come back and meet me again. I'll set up a follow up with myself. And if they're going home, always tell them, I'll see you back in a few weeks, so that I'll see how it's helping. Things
Okay.
like that.
All right, doctor. So I guess that covers the case for today. And do you have any questions for us? Are there any doubts that you might have?
Actually, I wasn't sure what to say when he asked if the father will still be alive before he gets there.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that.
How long does he have?
All right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a very difficult question.
So these are times that you have to talk very diplomatically, saying
Yeah.
that at this point, the neurosurgeons have reviewed his CT, and operation is not a choice. So it
Mm-hmm.
looks like it's terminal. So you need to answer to them what the word terminal means,
Mhm.
right?
So the
Where
terminal, yeah, whenever terminal is in the question, always make sure that you make them understand that they're going to die. That's what it means, right? So always, so don't beat around that part. Always make sure you deliver the news properly. Saying that question where I asked how long does he have, you can say that I'm so sorry that must be I can understand it must be a very stressful situation right now.
But it's a question that is very difficult for me to answer at this moment. But we are doing as much as we can to keep him comfortable. So that way you're not really telling anything. You're just telling that okay, we can't tell right now, but we are doing as whatever we can to keep him comfortable. That's what palliative basically is.
But you do have the situation of what he is at this point. So from the patient information, what you can gather is he's unconscious, and that the neurosurgeons have found the bleed, and the condition is terminal. So from that, you can what you can explain to this patient is that he is unconscious, and given the severity of the bleed, since surgery is not an option, there might not be much time, like you're not saying a definitive answer, but then you're saying that it doesn't look good.
And a good way to say is, like, if you notice in the question itself, it says the neurosurgeons believe that it is unlikely for him to survive this admission. So that's a good way to say that he's going to die, right? Saying that I'm so sorry, but it's highly unlikely he will come back from this, or it's highly unlikely for him to survive this. So these are little nicer ways to say the fact that the patient is going to die.
Or is terminal.
Okay.
Is there anything else? Hi, Dr. Bineet. Oh, hi.
All right.
Said something in the message. 1 second. Nice, and your workbench is really concept. I've already checked out the free portion. Want to ask if the new cases coming out nowadays, like every month, Morton's neuroma, sore throat, include in the diagnosis. Yes, we are definitely working on the new cases as well. As soon as we finish the modules, we'll start adding the new cases to them as well.
So as of now, weekly or once in 2 weeks, we are trying to add the new modules, because we are trying to work hard on this. But yeah, as soon as they are ready to release, we will be posting it on the group. So we are happy for you to check it out.
And if you notice any case that you have any doubts, please feel free to post it on the group, WhatsApp group. We'll definitely do a special. We can write up notes for that particular case and give you meanwhile till we make the workbench for it.
Right. And even if you have any doubts or questions, please feel free to ask on the group on any of the platforms. We are available on LinkedIn, WhatsApp, Facebook, as well as Reddit. So do feel free to ask questions, and we'll try to make interesting, fun segments for you guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Vineet, as well. Thank you, Doctor, for joining us, and great performance, must say, and good luck for your exam.
Yeah, I'm very confident you will do well.
Yeah, you were doing great.
That's a lot of pressure, yeah. Thank you.
All
right,
see you, everybody. Bye.
Thank you for choosing TuringMedSchool. Good luck with your preparation.